How founders can get started. Hi, Patrick here from Founder Revenue Academy. This episode is part of our proposition series and is episode number 4. So let's get started. What I've noticed over many years of helping startups is that there are great ideas, great teams, great missions, all in abundance, but there is often a key ingredient that is lacking, and that's the desire to execute. All of the tooling, so your setup, the home office environment, that's all been done, but then just hitting the go button seems to never happen. It reminded me of when I used to revise for exams. So you would have all your highlighters there, your sticky notes, relevant books, the right paper, and so on. But when it came to sitting there and actually trying to soak up all of the information, you found yourself getting distracted and convincing yourself that an alternative problem had to be fixed right there and then, from making that extra cup of tea to letting the dog out to posting how much you're going to smash it on social media. And so the cycle perpetually continues. The way I got around this is by thinking about it in 2 different ways. You've got a strategy phase and you've got an execution phase. So in the strategy phase, you are planning what and how you're going to do whatever it is you're going to do, with the execution phase being pretty self-explanatory. Though what I would do is use the 80-20 rule, and so would use 20% of my time creating the strategy and then 80% of my time executing on it. It's because so much is learned from the doing that it can then inform the strategy and any tweaks, if required, as you're going forward. So the strategy phase is often hypothesis and academic judgment. It brings a sense of clarity of game plan and focus on how the success of the strategy will be measured. So we prep, we plan, and we're ready to go. So think of it a bit like the military. So you plan, you execute, you debrief. And if we use this analogy out to the business context, it helped me a lot because it got me to get started. Because I did it enough times to know that often the answers that you don't have lie in real-time execution of the strategy, and then you have to be nimble enough to adapt. So let's take a sales example. You make a cold call to a prospect and have your script planned out, but then the prospect hits you with something that you weren't expecting, either in terms of an objection or some information you weren't expecting. So what do? If your strategy is so rigid that you can't adapt, you won't evolve and grow. And by simply getting started, you'll quickly learn what is working and what isn't, and have the ability to be able to think on your feet, and then it might re-inform the strategy when it comes to the debriefing session about how it went. So how can you get started? Simply by hitting that send button, hitting that call button, or sending that message. The pain of rejection stings a lot less than the pain of regret, and you've decided to make this leap and start your own business, so if you don't do it, who's going to? Maybe use the 80-20 rule to help with understanding where your calories are being burned. And if it's more on the strategy piece, or you feel it's more on the strategy piece, by switching to execution, you learn more, you learn faster, and as a result, business is going to flourish. That wraps up today's video. Remember, we create these videos a lot to help our founders and run these mini-series on all the key pillars of scaling B2B tech startups. So if you haven't seen the other videos in this proposition series or the other series at all, please check them out. And also don't forget to join our community with the link below, where you'll see all of this content and get to interact with many like-minded founders as well. I'll see you in there.